It started. Oh, now it's starting.
So,
Windows, because I'm pretty sure the wind is picking up.
yep, that's a good idea.
Okay, let's start this shit. Don't just breathe into the mic like that.
I wasn't even close to the mic.
Oh, but I still picked it up. Anyway, welcome to Hear Me Scream Part 15 with a guest again.
Yeah, who is it?
I wonder who
is
it
it?
is.
It's probably your only friend.
Hey, the thing is, having an online presence sucks. I don't know how to use it. I have Twitter. I don't know how to use it. Okay, give me some break.
Alright. So, episode 15, and we're still using Skype. How about that?
This is like the second time we used Skype.
Fair enough. I don't know, I'm gonna keep bullying you about this until you change.
Yeah, well, it's gonna take a while. Anyway, since we talked about Sekiro last year, I guess you and I can say we're both kind of fans of From Software games, no?
Yeah.
But I think I don't want to talk about Dark Souls 3 because that's like the only Dark Souls game we seem to have agreements on. Like, we agree a lot about the game.
That is true. Like, we do disagree a lot on Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne especially. And Sekiro, we're sorta we sorta have a middle ground, kinda, So that's that. But we do have a solid opinion on Dark Souls 3.
But before talking about going straight into Dark Souls 3, how did you get into Dark Souls anyway?
From YouTube, actually. When I was actually quite young, I just remember watching this YouTuber, and I remember watching this YouTuber. Actually, I think the first time I saw anything related to Dark Souls was when I was in fucking 6th grade or something like that. It was from PewDiePie. It was Dark Souls 1. I remember watching I remember fucking not sprinting, but trying to get as fast as possible back home so I can watch the newest Dark Souls video that he would make, and I thought it was the fucking best content. It was funny as shit. It was entertaining. The game looked fun, right? And over time, I watched some other Dark Souls videos, and at one point I was scrolling through the PS4 store, and, I was looking at the deals, and I saw Dark Souls 3, and I was like, okay, it's quite cheap. I was wondering about getting it. It was either Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne. I chose Dark Souls 3 for some reason. And yeah, that's about it.
When was that? Like, you remember the year? Like, was it the year was released, which is 2016?
It was Dark Souls 3 really released in 2016?
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago.
Damn. I guess it wasn't the year of release. I would say it was probably 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. So a year or two later after Dark Souls 3.
And I remember that time because you talked about it a lot, and you said it was a good game, and I'm like, okay, yeah. Dark Souls seems good, and then I bought Dark Souls 2.
It doesn't make any sense, by the way. It's like, at least that was like Dark Souls 3 supposedly is a good starting game for beginners, right? For newcomers to series. For some reason, people say that. So I don't know. That's what people say. In my opinion, that's not really correct. Like, Dark Souls 1 is super easy. Like, I would say, by difficulty wise, Dark Souls 1 is probably the easiest. So you should start with that one. But anyway, I don't know. It was either Bloodborne for me. Bloodborne's like it's just a single game. It doesn't really tie to Dark Souls that much, right? Like, Dark Souls 3 is at the end. You chose Dark Souls 2, which is like in the middle of the series. I was like, what? Why the fuck? Why the fuck did you choose Dark Souls 2?
It was the only one that was on special offer, and like, how different can it be? I was like,
fair enough.
Yeah, I remember I dropped the game. Like, I haven't even gone to the first boss. I remember being scared shitless because, like, one thing Dark Souls series does right is definitely the atmosphere for the exploration aspect. I mean, like, it nails atmosphere really well.
Bloodborne did the best, by the way.
I actually agree on that, but like, still, Dark Souls 2 really got to me, and I never gone far until you bullied me until I've done the first boss. And I remember the last giant. I really liked that boss. I remember I was shaking really hard, and I started calling you saying I beat it. That was a fun night.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that.
But then after I beat Dark Souls 2, I went to Dark Souls 3.
Mm.
And I think you started playing through Bloodborne at that time, but like we're gonna talk about Dark Souls 3. So like what was your first experience with Dark Souls 3? Since this was your first From Software game.
It was fun. It was intriguing, just seeing just exploring the world, like mechanics, seeing the different armor sets, different fucking weapons, shit like that. The boss fights. I love the boss fights. The boss fights were amazing. My favorite boss fights in those games were by far the humanoid boss fights where it just fell. Yeah.
We talk about the bosses later. We start.
Well, I'm not talking about certain bosses. I'm just saying when I was playing the game, my favorite experience about the game was fighting the humanoid boss fights, where you would dodge, and like the dodging in that game was smooth as shit. Like that's why I like Dark Souls 3 so much more than Dark Souls 2 and 1. It's just the mechanics are so much better and they're so much more fluent. There's such a big difference in the games. It's not even close.
Oh god, like Dark Souls 3 is just a beautiful game as well. Like graphic wise, it looks phenomenal.
Sure, the game really got to me. I'll give you that much. It was quite a fun game. Granted, I was being a bitch because I kept looking at guides on YouTube on where I was supposed to go because I had no fucking. I was so lost.
In my opinion, with Dark Souls, this series sort of best known beforehand. Like you should know a lot before going into them, because if you go through blind, there's just a lot of stuff the game just does not tell you. So I feel like if you know beforehand, like especially some NPCs quest line, they can be really good, but most people will never do it because like, how was I supposed to know I needed to talk to Seekwire locked in a cat and locked inside of a cell before freeing him? It's weird.
For example, in Sekiro, you missed the one NPC that I was talking about. I don't think you even knew that NPC existed or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's weird because when we talk about Dark Souls, we look at it differently.
Repeat that. You cut out. The fucking internet lagged.
Oh no, my internet's absolute shit wire. I need to fucking get like a wireless adapter, but that's not the point here. When we play Dark Souls, like any From Software game, we both look at different aspects. While you focus on gameplay and how it runs and how it feels, I more focus on the characters and lore-wise.
Yeah, that's true.
So we both got different opinion on what is good and why we love it so much.
Sure.
Well, and the reason why we both agree on Dark Souls 3 because I also enjoy the way the game plays. Like a lot.
I haven't heard any complaints about Dark Souls 3's mechanics. And honestly, if I heard complaints about Dark Souls 3 mechanics, I would call that guy a complete fucking retard.
The usual complaints for these types of games is like it plays like Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne. I compare a lot because like compared to Dark Souls 1, the game is much faster. Like
even 2. 2 is literally Dark Souls 1. I've said this before and I'm gonna keep saying it. Dark Souls 2 is just Dark Souls 1 but reskinned with different lore. That's it.
Oh god, the tea is boiling, that's for sure. And yeah, but so I remember people complain about that a lot, that like Dark Souls 3 is just Bloodborne 2, which I disagree with, obviously. But like, that's like one complaint I keep seeing.
I mean, honestly, the only thing that's similar to Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne is the fact that both games are really smooth and they go, they're really fast. Like the action is really fast, the dodging is really fast. That's the only thing is similar. Other than that, it's quite different. Even the dodging mechanic is different, the parrying is different, the weapons are different.
I've never parried in Dark Souls 3. I never even held a shield in Dark Souls 3.
I never used the shield in Dark Souls games, period. I don't know. The only shield I ever had in Dark Souls games is the grass shield, the one that gives you stamina regen, and I would always just have it on my back.
Also for fashion.
Nah, it was really useful for the stamina regen. That's about it.
Also fashion, it looked pretty.
Fair enough.
But Dark Souls has a really special place in my heart because like BDBrazy also forced me to buy a PS4, and I was back then. I was just so I was only in the Wii and handhelds like 3DS and Vita, so I never went up with consoles. So when I bought a PS4, I bought like one game to it, and then Persona 5. Persona 5 is another topic. I've already done a topic about it. So
Yes,
when I
sir.
bought Dark Souls 2, that game was made for the PS2, so I never see the real potential of the PS4. But once I played through Dark Souls 3, which was like in 2017, a year before the release date, it was amazing because the game, like, holy crap, this is the next generation consoles.
True.
It was
True.
just like it holds a special place to my heart because like I'm playing a game that's really recent for the first time. It's like it was amazing. It holds a special place. I love Dark Souls 3 a lot.
Fair enough. For me, Dark Souls 3 was just my first Dark Souls game. It's the game that got me into the series. Honestly, if it wasn't for the YouTube videos, because Dark Souls as a game is just a really good game for YouTube content. Like, there's so much shit going on, and especially with the constant boss fights, you can make lots of content with it. I remember there's one YouTuber I watched made really funny content about it. So yeah, if it wasn't for YouTube, I probably would never get into it. But solid game.
But unlike Sekiro, Dark Souls 3 has like great your own character, like RPG sort of crap. What character do you usually lean to?
I lean to the quality build, where I build strength, dexterity, stamina, and HP. You know, I don't really do the whole magic and intelligence and fire bending and shit like that. I'm not into that.
Pyromancy. We're not talking about Avatar here.
Fire bending. I don't know, the only thing I fucked with when it comes to pyromancy shit like that is it was the spells that buff your character. I think it was there's a spell
Yeah,
that
that
can
was
buff
good.
your character. Yeah, that's the only thing I did. But you don't need that much points into that to do it. So there's that. And I like the quality build, especially for beginners because I was new into the game. With a quality build, I could test out the heavy weapons. I can test out dexterity weapons, and I can just play around with everything except magic. And I wasn't that big fan of magic in those games, so I was like, perfect. That's perfect for me. That's what I did.
Oh yeah, I
What?
remember I did the same build as you. And then
Mhm.
I think in the end, you and I had the same final weapon, which was the Dark Sword.
I think so. I'm not sure.
And I remember everyone talking shit about the internet, how it's like the easy mode of the game is like one of the reasons why the community of Dark Souls is kind of bad, not gonna lie.
People talk shit about that sword, but honestly, like the Fume Knight
good.
Great Sword was so broken. Like, especially when the
It's-
game came out, it got nerfed. Like, just so you can
Ah.
imagine it, they nerfed the weapon in like a Dark Souls game. I don't know, that didn't make sense to me when I first heard it. I was like, what the fuck? How broken was this shit when it came out? So actually, yeah, the dark side weapon is broken. But first off, if you listen to what people say and just because this is broken, I'm not gonna use this weapon, that's retarded. Honestly, if you wanna play that. That's it.
No, like my
Alright.
first playthrough, I'm gonna cut you off right there. In Dark Souls 3, it's the game I played through 9 times full walkthroughs, like full playthroughs of it. And ever since the first one was quality build like yours, but then after the second playthrough, it's just strength weapon, strength all the way. And my go-to weapon will always be the or Ultra Fume Knight Great Sword. It's just a fun giant stone to thwack people with. It's just amazing.
Sure. Fair enough. Also doesn't do extra damage to hollows, so what the fuck they were called.
Oh no, that's for the Executioner Sword.
Good to know.
The Fume Knight Great Sword is just a big fucking rock. I love it.
Yeah, wasn't it from Dark Souls 2 actually?
Uh-huh.
Yep. You see, guys, some good things came out of Dark Souls 2. Some.
And we're not gonna get into the topic, the fact that Dark Souls 3 copies from a lot of lore from Dark Souls 2. I know you don't know it because you don't care about the lore. Because like it's there.
Yep.
Anyway,
Look,
I
I know a little bit about the lore, not that much. I think I know more about the lore in Bloodborne and Sekiro than Dark Souls, but I know some stuff.
God, now that we're talking about Dark Souls 3, I really want to play that game again. Not gonna lie, it's like it's such a good game.
I want to play again. I want to play the bosses in
Uh,
Dark Souls 3. That's about it.
ever
That's
since,
my yeah.
ever since playing through Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro, I wish there's a way to replay bosses. Which I'm really glad that Sekiro's getting an update that lets you replay bosses.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's exciting. Even Bloodborne has some bosses that I actually want to play again. But anyway, speaking of bosses, I guess we should talk about Dark Souls 3 bosses.
You know, before we do start talking about every single boss, what I want to say about Dark Souls 3 is maybe it's because my first game, it was my first Dark Souls game, but like the feeling after beating those bosses was amazing. It didn't compare at all to Dark Souls 1 or 2. I never got that satisfaction from those games that I got from Dark Souls 3. Like, I remember when I beat like fucking, which was it? The twin princesses or whatever it was, those two cunts. I just certain bosses when I beat them, like I was so happy. It was unreal, right? And because I struggled to fight those bosses, stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't really get that with other Dark Souls games.
Dark Souls 3, I guess because it's like the third game in the trilogy, it's like you really need to step up the game. Like even with the music, there's like sort of section that only starts once you go into second phases, which Dark Souls 3 does a lot. Like this is not my true form, and then it just cracks open and reveals another thing.
Yeah.
Which Dark Souls 3 does a lot, which is good, mind you. I like it because it looks visually amazing. Like, yeah, it's good.
And it keeps the fight fresh.
Exactly. And speaking of changing forms, the first boss, Yudix Gundyr, does exactly that.
I just want to say that was a solid transition.
Yeah, it's like I've done this like 15 times.
Okay.
Like the previous one was just like 7 minutes long. No, that was nothing.
Technical difficulties.
Exactly. Life just sucks. Anyway, yeah. So Yudix Gundyr.
That's a really fun boss fight, and it's a really solid boss fight for beginners. But you can really see the difference between a new player and a veteran in the series, because a veteran just fucking destroys that boss fight.
Oh yeah, I remember
parrying his shit like that.
I remember you told me that you actually struggled with him since he was like your first boss. I think you've been at it for not quite a while, but like a couple of times.
Well, yeah, it took me I don't remember how many times, but it took me a long ass time, like I think 10 tries maybe. It was a lot. But then again, it was the very first boss fight, and I was just, that set the bar quite high up for the first boss fight in the series for me. I was like, okay, shit, I'm expecting shit like this, but better,
Yeah, well, for me, it was like I beat through Dark Souls 2, so he was quite easy, but like, damn, that arena was cool with that big ass coffin with the tree growing inside, and then you just have this lone figure with a sword in his chest. It's like, what does this mean?
Well, I mean, I guess lore-wise, you can say you can, you don't know what that means, but like, gameplay-wise, you know what's gonna happen.
It was fun.
It's quite obvious.
Look at this big open room
with this big motherfucker just staying there, dying. It's like, oh, what's gonna happen here?
I don't know. Yudix means judge or something, so it's like he's judging you. Get it? It's lore.
Fair enough. Overall, solid fight.
Yeah, that second phase really did caught me off guard. Like I think for the first time I did, like for the first area, I did not use a guide. So when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty.
Fair enough. Yeah, that transformation is for newcomers that don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, nah.
And quite intimidating.
It is intimidating. It's quite a sick transformation. And if you just panic when you see it and you just run around, you're gonna get killed quite quickly.
And I do remember like later on the game does like it's like regular enemies that does the same thing.
Yeah, I mean it's not even later on. It's literally
like
after that boss fight. Yeah.
And it's weird because I know nothing in like I think the game mentions it once, but the black thing is called the Pus of Men, and it's supposed to be like the abyss growing inside humans. Like that's such an interesting lore bit, but I think it was only in the official guidebook, so that was weird.
So
we're not talking about the lore here. And the next boss is Ward of the Boreal Valley.
Also a really fun boss.
Oh, the music is phenomenal as well. Kind
The
of like
music is yeah.
like it has a little bit. It needs a little bit more HP than the one it got in the end. It's just like he's good, but like just a little bit more HP would have done such a good job on it.
Mm. I don't know. I think the HP is right for Nuke. Well, for you who after you've played the game, it's a bit different. But people who are new to the series, I think his HP bar and shit like that was just fine. Boss fight was solid. Had good atmosphere, good music, good mechanics, and it was fun.
Mm.
Also, you get introduced to Frostbite in that fight.
I still have no idea how the hell that thing works. By the way, it's like once it fills up, what happens? I don't get it.
I forgot. I think you just suffer a lot of damage and you get slowed. That's it, if I remember correctly. But yeah.
I mean, it's quite an intimidating boss. Like this, okay, it's bigger than Gundyr, that's for sure. And it's like it can run straight at you like a wall.
It just charges at you, and if you panic, you're fucked.
Mm.
If you start dodging at the wrong time, you're fucked.
Did you also struggle with this boss your first playthrough?
Probably. I don't remember. Yeah, most likely. In general, Dark Souls 3, I struggle with most. I didn't. It's not struggle where like it took me days to beat the boss fight. Beat them most of them. I beat them in a single day. It did take me quite a few tries. I kept constantly lying. But the thing is, when I was playing that game, I did this. It's kind of retarded, but I don't know. It's the way I would learn. I would go in a boss fight and I would try not to heal, right? So I would try to just try to learn the dodging times, because when you heal, when you have like, for example, when you have 5 healing potions, right? And you're counting on those 5 healing potions, you're more likely to get hit because you're like, oh, even if I get hit, I'm just gonna heal it, right? So if you try to play the boss fight without healing yourself, just a bit, you get more. You're trying to learn more the windows for dodging and shit like that. That's what I would do quite a few times. That's what I did a lot with Bloodborne, because you needed to grind up your healing there. So it's not even like you have an unlimited healing. So I was like, okay, might as well do this. I'm gonna learn how to fight this boss fight, and I'll use my healing items.
Nice. I did not struggle at all.
I know you did, but it was your second Dark Souls game, so
Yeah.
it was a bit
Dark
different.
Souls 2 was piss baby easy though, so
True, but it doesn't matter if it was easy or not. Just because you knew how the game works, that helps out a lot.
And then the next boss, the disgusting Curse Rod and Greatwood. Do you remember that fight?
Yeah, the tree with the nutsack.
Yeah, you can say it like that. Quite
I
unremarkable,
mean,
really.
what'd you say?
Quite unremarkable, really.
Yeah, there's not much to say about it, except it was a tree with pimples. What else can you say? It's kind of like a puzzle boss, I guess. All you need to do is figure out what you need to hit. But if you know what you need to hit, it's a really easy fight. There's not much challenge to it. It's cool that like towards the end it just breaks the floor and you go underground. That's cool, I guess. But yeah, a meh fight overall.
I do remember you talked about how the soul weapon for this boss, the Hollow Slayer Greatsword, is the
Yeah,
sword you used, didn't you?
I used for quite a. That's the sword I used for a decent amount of time. I thought it was a sick sword. I don't know. It wasn't the best weapon, but it looked really nice. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this sword.
Also, my correction is this sword that does extra damage to hollows. I was wrong. The Executioner sword does nothing.
Okay, good to
And
know.
this weapon was always in Dark Souls 2 as well.
Really?
Yep.
Fair enough. Didn't knew that. Didn't
I
know
think I
that.
mentioned it before, by the way, but thanks for listening.
Oh, you can remember everything.
Okay, thanks. Anyway, the next
That's my
boss,
excuse.
Crystal Sage. The Crystal
Crystal
Sage.
Sage.
It was
That
one of the
was
first boss that I was annoyed with, actually. I thought it was annoying.
that was an easy fight, but an annoying fight. It wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't hard. I didn't really struggle with it. Like I saw some other people struggle. I don't know, but it was just a really fucking annoying fight because you would attack the bitch would suffer damage, and like after you did a certain amount of damage, she would just disappear, and you need to run away. You need to keep running until you find the one that actually is the real one, and you need to kill her. Granted, it was quite easy to spot the real one. I think the fake, if I remember, the fake ones were showing like blue shit, like their spells were blue and the real one was purple or something like that.
Yeah.
I forgot. But I think that was the indication on which was real. But still, it wasn't the best fight. It was like,
Once
yeah.
there's a surprise factor, like, oh, there's more than one of them, when only one of them is the real one. That sort of wow factor, that once that goes away, it's just an annoying fight because you have to run around like, is that the one? No, it's not. I have to wait for her to see the attack on that one. It's just like, I just wanted you to kill.
Yeah, sure. It's a fight that you need to fight though, because it's mandatory, you need to get through it. So it's what it is.
The next one being the Deacons of the Deep. That had such a really good atmosphere, but the boss itself was like, okay, it was there.
It was harder getting to the boss than actually beating the boss.
Really?
I mean, you need to go through those giants and shit like that to get to the boss fight. I remember in that area.
There was like an elevator next to the boss gate, did you?
No, I know there was a shortcut, but like I'm talking about the journey to get into.
Oh yeah, the Cathedral of the Deep. We're gonna talk about location later, but the Cathedral of the Deep is one of the best areas in the game, like because it is actually really hard to go through.
Yeah, it's not. The boss fight was a fucking joke though, in that area. But I don't know. I mean, good thing about Deacons of the Deep is the jokes that you can make with it.
No, we're not.
It's like a German rape dungeon over there.
You're lucky that I don't get paid yet. I'm allowing you to say this crap.
Yeah, like children probably getting fucked there. You remember when the Pope came out on the news apologizing for all the children that got fucked from the church? I think that was the inspiration for that boss fight.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you're not getting monetized, so.
Yeah, not anymore. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I got you. All the dreams you had about getting sponsorships on this podcast are all gone now. Yeah, just because of that single line.
When we did the second one, that's the moment the boat started to sink, and today you just put the hammer in the nail.
Yep. This is literally the Titanic.
Great. Anyway, the next fight, the first Lords of Cinders, the Abyss Watchers. It's just
an amazing fight, 10 out of 10. What else do you need to say? If you haven't played the game, you should play the game just for that fight.
Honestly, it's like, it's like butter with honey.
When you beat that shit and you dodge the attacks perfectly, you feel like such a fucking badass. It's unreal.
And then you see the middle cutscene once you defeat them, and it's like, what's going on with all this blood? And then he says like fire. It's like, it's so good.
And then it's like, surprise, motherfucker! I'm using steroids. Like, oh, sick.
And then the design, like the armor for these guys, is like such a good fashion show as well. It's like really good.
Yeah, their weapon is cool. I do have the weapon on my account, but they don't really use it. I guess if you're into pairing, it's probably useful.
The two weapons you get from their soul, the Pharaoh Greatsword and the Wolf Knight's Greatsword. I remember I had such a hard time choosing which one of them, because one of them, purely aesthetic-wise, it looks amazing, but not really viable. While the other one just looks like a regular Greatsword, but it's really good against the Abyss-type's enemy. So it was really hard to choose. I did end up choosing the one that's good with the Abyss.
Yeah,
the Wolf Knight Greatsword.
I chose the one with the pairing shit.
That one was also my second weapon to use in any playthrough next to the Ultra Fume Knight Greatsword. It's like a great weapon for a great boss.
True that. Overall, really solid fight with the music, the atmosphere, the lore, and everything. That's all there needs to be said. If you didn't play the game, play the game.
The Abyss Watchers being absolute chads, like putting a fucking city into underground. That's like pretty lit move. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, man, you cucked them.
Speaking of the one getting cucked, High Lord Volnir. That was just no.
Who was that again?
The giant skeleton.
Oh, the ring bitch. The
There you
ring
go.
bitch, yeah. Shit boss fight.
Yeah.
He looked cool though, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
Give
when
it that
you-
much.
When you touch the golem, and then it's like everything goes dark, and then you go a little bit in front, and boom, a giant skeleton face. I'm like, oh, scary.
Yeah, spooky skeletons, you know? That was
Yeah, I was
solid.
hoping we would go through the podcast without you saying that, but still.
Yeah, we had to. I mean, that era is literally the definition of that song.
Kanaka MacArthur's, that's another topic, was like, well, yeah, I remember you and I talked about it when I first beat the boss, and I like the lore aspect that this could be the Dark Souls 2 protagonist, like with the crowns and stuff. And then I remember saying along the lines like, it's why such a good lore wasted on such a bad boss, and then you're like, oh yeah, because Dark Souls 2 is a bad game. I really wanted to smack you that day.
What? Dark Souls 3 is a bad game.
Dark Souls 2, I mean.
Ah.
It's like, the Dark Souls 2 protagonist has a really bad boss fight. Get it? Because Dark Souls 2 is a bad game.
I don't actually remember saying that.
I
you know what?
remember it was like,
Good on me. Good on me. Skipping up the Dark Souls 2 is a bad game stigma even back then.
Anyway, the next boss isn't any better. Do you even remember him? Oh yeah, we talked about him before actually, the old demon king.
I don't like the whole idea. It's like, oh, you remember back in Dark Souls 1 where you used to fight that shit, they were big and strong? Well, now they're just a fucking joke. That's nice, I guess.
Yeah, the game
So-
tries like,
Yeah?
the game is like, oh, the demons are dying. This is the last demon, and the Ringed City comes out like, JK, these are the last demons.
Ignoring the retcon that they did with the DLC, the boss fight isn't anything spectacular, honestly. There's nothing to write home about.
And then it's about
Especially
the
the fact that it's optional. You can fight it later on in the game, and if you fight it later on, it's just a fucking joke. And I didn't find it later on. I actually fought it the moment I found it out. I think I beat like really quickly. On my second try, something like that. I don't remember, but it wasn't. It's not that hard of a boss fight. It's not the best boss fight. I think there's also a glitch in there where you can get stuck in the wall, something like that.
Oh, really? I've never heard of that.
I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, it's a meh boss fight, but you know, not the worst, honestly, in the game.
I think the music was good, but I really can't remember much about it. Even though I absolutely love Dark Souls 3 soundtrack, there's some soundtrack that just doesn't stick with me.
Nah, I'm horrible with the song, so yeah, I can't really say much.
Now, the next boss being a much, much better boss, Pontiff Sullivan.
Ooh, the priest.
That really just defies Dark Souls 3, doesn't it?
The priest.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big daddy alpha male priest. What can we say except this motherfucker is... If he can parry, oh boy. Oh boy. Lube up your butthole. It's not gonna end well. Like, damn, that motherfucker was strong. But yeah, it was fun boss fight. The atmosphere and the way when you get in the boss fight, and he just walking towards you like very slowly. It's just like, okay.
And then when you walk towards it, the sword just glows all. I was like, ooh, I love this. And then you die. That was fun.
Yeah, and then you die like 20 times because it's Pontiff and it's your first time playing a Dark Souls game. Oh, that was amazing.
Not me. I summoned two support, and that went well.
Okay, then moving forward.
Good, amazing boss, amazing music. Everything is so good. Everything about Everthil of the Boreal Valley. It's just a good area.
It is. It's a really good area, and that was a really good boss fight. You know, it's a good thing that the area was good and the boss fight was good. You know, it's just disappointing where you're in a good area but the boss fight just slacks. Like for example, in the dungeons with the skeletons, that area in my opinion is fucking dog shit, right? It looks good, it's well made, but I don't like that area. I hate it, and I'm pretty sure most people hate it too. The skeletons area, and the boss fight, the ring bitch. He's not a good boss fight either. So I think it kind of matches.
Speaking of bosses being disappointing and then having a disappointing area, Yorm the Giant.
Look. The only thing I like about Yorm the Giant, not the only thing, but like you see him in the trailer in the beginning of the game. You see this big ass motherfucker with this big ass sword. And you're like, damn, look at that thing. Am I gonna really beat that thing? Then you get to the boss fight, and all you need to know is you run around, you pick up the sword, and then the real challenge of the fight is equipping the sword while trying not to get hit. And if you manage to do that, it's GG good game, because just too broken.
Or you just have sick ward of Katarina just comes and help you. That can also happen.
That's actually, I was gonna talk about that. Like the thing that I like about that boss fight is Sigurd, like his questline ending there, and I think it's a good way to end the questline, because if I remember correctly in the lore, I think Sigurd was friends with Yorm, something like that, and then he promised him if he goes solo, he's gonna kill him. And then you fight with Sigurd, you see him along your way to your journey, and Yorm the Giant is towards the end game, right, of the main story. And
halfway there, yeah.
Yeah, and you fight with Sigurd, and then Sigurd, if I remember correctly, he dies, right, after that fight.
Yeah, he kills himself, actually. That's what it's implied.
And it's sad, but it's good lore wise. And
Yeah.
I like the side quests with NPC. It's more like I look at it more like an NPC fight, that you need to deal for the story of the NPC rather than the boss fight. And that way it's not a bad fight, but if you look at it as a boss fight, it's not that good.
A lot of complaint, one being really easy, is that Sigward's question is actually quite easy to.
Yeah, I know.
It's like you just skip one encounter, even though you can go back to it, you can't finish it for some reason. It's just weird.
Yeah, that's something Dark Souls 3 lacks. The quest lines are really easy to fuck up.
And like speaking of the introduction cutscene of Yorm the Giant, for me it's just scream like products may seem larger than they actually are, because like Yorm is not that really small compared to his CG counterpart in the opening introduction, or is it just me?
No, I think it's just you. Yorm is actually pretty big in the game. He's as big as those pillars in the room. Those pillars are fucking huge.
I guess it's been a while since I played the game, so I need to check on that.
The main character doesn't even scale up to his knee, so he's pretty tall, if I remember correctly. If the main character scaled up to his knee, right, then I would agree with you. Yorm would look like a midget, but compared to his CG, the intro part. But no, if I remember correctly, the main character is right below his knee, so it gives you the this boss fight is actually massive, And it's portraying how big that character is. It's not an easy feat, for the people that were making the game. So you have to look at it from that perspective too.
Weird thing to say, but yeah, okay, sure. Anyway, the next Lord of Cinder, being my least favorite one, is Ultric the Devourers of Gods. Ugh.
That boss fight was easy as shit. Easy.
I think I
a bit on my second try or something. Yeah.
I just remember getting really annoyed with his arrows that follow you everywhere and lasted way longer than he needed to. I remember on my first playthrough.
The easiest way to counter those arrows is just to run. That's what I did. I would just run.
For some reason, just for me, it just did not click, and it was really annoying. I did like the lore. It's like, it sucks what happens to Gwendolyn, but like,
Yeah, he has also a lore. Doesn't he just eat other bosses or something like that? Isn't that the lore?
No, he eats gods. Like, it's implied that he also eats Nido as well.
Didn't she kill Nido though in the first game?
And no one really dies in Dark Souls.
Fair enough, I guess.
So yeah, that's like Ultric.
And actually,
Hmm?
You actually fight him a second time for an NPC questline.
Oh yeah, Henry of Astora.
Yeah, the female or male, depending on what your main character is.
Yeah,
The
we talk
NPC.
about them when we talk about the NPCs because there's quite a few of them in this game.
I mean, fair enough. But you do fight that boss fight a second time.
Mm. Anything else for Ultrich the Devourers of Gods?
Not much. Not much, honestly.
Not even the weapons you get from it is that even interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look, the boss fight in itself isn't that bad. The lore is pretty decent, but I don't know. I wouldn't call him my favorite boss fight or anything.
Mm.
He's an alright boss. Not the best, not the worst. Just...
But okay, going right along because there's not much to say about him anymore. Is the boss that actually stuck with it the most, the Dancer of the Boreal Valley.
I actually think I beat the dancer before I beat Aldrich.
Oh yeah, I remember you. I remember you bitching about it as well.
Well, after, if I remember correctly, after I beat Pondiv, I went to beat the dancer.
Which is still like really early because like this is like a final end game boss.
Yeah, I know. I remember I was like, okay, I'm not doing any damage to this bitch. This is gonna be horrible, and it was horrible, but it just made the victory so much sweeter, you know. I fucking abused those pillars to my advantage. It's like if those pillars weren't in that fight, I'm not sure if I would even be able to beat the boss fight so early on, you know.
Mm.
Because those pillars would just cuck her when she would go in the spinning Beyblade thing.
Oh god, I remember my PS4 Slim dying every time she does that because it will just become a slideshow.
And that's why I don't buy a PS4 Slim.
Hey, for some reason it runs Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15 just well. It's just when I play through Dark Souls 3, it's weird.
Back coding?
Probably anyway, but for me with the dancer, I remember for 3 days straight, I was going at her every single time and I just could not do it.
I think it took you like a week to beat the boss fight.
I remember it was like every day I was trying and I remember you talked about like, you finally hit your first roadblock of Dark Souls. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Everybody meets one at least. I think I've met more than one, honestly.
For me, the only one I can remember is the dancer, and I did beat her in the end, which I was really happy to. I actually still think I recorded it like with the PS4 recording function. I think I have it somewhere.
Which I hope they made better in the PS5 version because it leaves lots of things to be desired. The recording option on the PS4.
It worked for me. That's what I'm gonna say.
It works, but it could be better.
But with the dancers, like the music is great and the atmosphere is great. Like when the person, Emma, I think her name was, when she dies, and then you have this thing coming through the wall. I was like, ooh, fuck.
Gameplay wise, it's really nice. It's a really good fight, and the music is good, and the atmosphere is good.
Oh yeah, and when she attacks with her fire sword, the area actually catches on fire.
Yeah, she does like a half a circle, and then she lights it on fire. That's good. That's like cool. I like the boss fight. It's a really good boss fight, and when you beat it, you feel very satisfied. You know, some one of those boss fights where you just beat the boss fight, like, was that all? You know, you're happy.
Definitely.
You feel like you have accomplished something.
And the next boss, which for me really made me click with Dark Souls 3. Actually, once I realized it, is the Dragon Slayer armor.
Oh, that guy. That fuck.
It's like such a lore-wise, it's a simple boss. But like gameplay-wise, makes the difference. It's just amazing.
Gameplay-wise, he's a really fun boss fight. Just dodging him is really fun. And I remember I was gonna beat him on my first try, and then I choked and I fell off from the map or something like that and died. And then like it took me like 4 or 5 more tries. It took me way more. Like I almost beat him on my first try, and then I fucking struggled for 6 or 7 tries. I don't know why. It wasn't even that hard of a boss fight.
No, like the only annoying thing is the second phase where like those butterflies, the pilgrim's butterfly around start shooting lasers and crap. That was just annoying.
That was just bullshit.
Yeah, but it did not ruin the boss. It was still a great boss.
It was a good boss. The ship part is though that you can't get the armor from him. You need to go to the DLC and then you fight him. That's how you know the DLC stepped up with the boss fights when they made a normal a regular boss in the base game of Dark Souls just a mini boss.
Yeah, that
It's
was
a
it.
DLC. They were just like, oh, it's you again. You were cool, but they made you a bitch now. So yeah, you fuck.
It was still amazing. Like, hey, isn't that the Dragon Slayer armor? Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, I watched the tutorial, so I knew it was coming. I was like, oh, sick, I'm gonna fight this fucker again. And I raped him. I got my revenge.
Speaking of revenge, Osiris, the Consumed King. Boss fight, not that interesting. Lore-wise, the music and everything around him. Gosh darn it, does that elevate him to a new level?
I genuinely don't have much to say about this boss fight because I beat him really quickly. Too quickly, actually. Like, I went there, I was expecting to fight him more, and I beat him like on my first or second try, and it was weird because the YouTuber that I watched struggled a lot with that boss fight. I was like, okay, I was expecting something similar, because it was also his first time playing a Dark Souls game. It was Dark Souls 3. So I was like, okay, this is probably gonna be hard, but no, I beat him quite quickly. And honestly, I don't know much about his lore to say, to talk about it. I know that some Osiris or something, that's what he says, right? That name.
Ocelot.
Ocelot.
Osiris is the name.
Yeah, my bad. Ocelot. And I don't know, he kills the child, something like that, and he has a PTSD. I don't know.
It's heavily implied. I'm not gonna go into much lore because I can just do that myself. But and there is like caught contact with him. Like there is the model for the baby he's supposed to be holding, but that's like another topic. It's just like such a good boss fight.
It gives you the creepy atmosphere. At least that's what they do.
Especially before the boss gate, where you just hear him screaming or wailing. That's just like, yeah, I don't want to see what's behind this wall.
Mechanically wise, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that boss fight was kind of RNG. Like there were some moves that he did that were quite bullshit. And there were other moves that were really easy to counteract and just delete him. Just if you just spam R1 and you do lots of attacks. So yeah, it's really just RNG what moves he's gonna use on you. If I remember correctly. That was this one move that was really bullshit, but
I think he also has like the curse effect.
Yeah, I think he has frostbite, not curse.
No, but unlike Dark Souls 1, curse isn't that big of a deal. Like it takes a while to fill up the bar compared to the first game, so it's never really that big of an issue, but it's still annoying.
Yeah, you just need to be careful. But yeah.
The next after Osiris, actually Osiris and the next boss are actually optional. Champion Gundyr.
Yeah, you fight him again.
Yeah, but like actually as a boss this time.
Yeah, in the underground area. He was fun, but it was the same boss fight, not really much different.
Better.
It was just a boss fight scaled for late game.
Yeah.
That's all there was to it.
I remember I summoned with him, and the summon for this boss, the Sword Master, he's like a really good sponge. So it's like once you summon him, you pretty much beat the boss already.
I didn't summon because I love the humanoid fights.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yep.
With the next boss being my favorite one of them all, Lothar Twins Princess. It's just an amazing fight. Everything about them is so good.
I mean, yeah, the music is good, has good atmosphere, and mechanically wise, the boss fight is actually quite fun to fight. The lore wise, I don't know much about it, but I'm guessing it's good.
Amazing.
I've heard good stuff about it lore wise, so there's that. And the satisfaction you get after being the boss fight is amazing. So there's that.
I remember hearing a lot of people saying they struggle with this boss. I remember you said you struggle with him as well. But for me, it really clicked on me right away. I think I've done him on my fourth try, and every time I ever play the game afterwards, it was usually first try, and it's like, it just really clicked on me. Everything felt like a rhythm game after that point, and it's just good.
I mean, Yeah, it took me quite a few tries. Um, yeah, it just has to click for you. Like you said, click for you. Just it was like a rhythm game. Well, yeah, that's what you need to do. Just you need to dodge and hit him, in certain times. And you shouldn't get greedy. If you get greedy, he's just gonna fuck you up.
And that can be said about any other boss, but like, it's
But that
good.
boss especially.
Mm.
Anyway, moving forward after the quick break.
Do you even remember this next fight? It's optional. The next two bosses are optional, but the Ancient Wyvern.
Ancient Wyvern. I do remember that. It's an area where you need to get to the Nameless King. And it's not really a boss fight, it's more of a, you just run through this area, skipping all the enemies and just plunging attack it and one-shotting it.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you know where you need to go and what you need to do, the boss fight is really easy. If you don't know where you need to go and what you need to do, you're probably gonna get killed quite a few times.
Yeah, it's tough to say, but there isn't much to say about him.
Yeah. I mean, he looks... The design, I guess, is cool.
I feel like it looks generic.
It is generic, It's like, but it's a dragon, so it's still gonna look
But
cool.
let's talk about the real boss of the Arch Dragon Peak, the Nameless King.
I had a fucking war arc with this boss.
I remember.
That was my first roadblock in the Dark Souls series, and probably my last roadblock, honestly.
Oh, because you're such good at the games.
No, because I beat the other games, so except Dark Souls 2, I haven't finished that one. So I haven't really gotten stuck on any other boss the same way I did on that one. So, that boss. Well, let's start. The atmosphere of the boss is amazing, and the arena is really good. Also, the mechanically wise, the fight is really good. Well, I'm talking about the second stage of the fight, where you actually fight him. You fight him one-on-one. When you're fighting the dragon in the first stage, it's cool in the beginning, but later on it's annoying because you have to after you die you have to beat that boss fight, I guess.
The dragon,
stage of the boss fight.
What do you call him again? There's a name for the Storm Drake.
Yeah. Whatever. The Drake. You need to kill him every time you die. So that's not the
that,
most
which does
fun
get
thing.
annoying a lot, but I think it's well worth it because the Nameless King himself is such a good boss.
True. And the problem I have with that boss fight is that you can lock onto him, and back then I would always lock onto the enemy, right? But you can lock on for that fight. You can lock on only when you're gonna go strike him, so you can land your hits. But the moment he's gonna fly away, you have to remove your lock on because your camera is just gonna die. So yeah, the camera angles are a big problem in that fight. So that's something that they should fix. They won't fix it. It's just something you need to deal with. But,
no, but the Nameless King, the fact that he was hyped from the first game, being the lost child of Gwyn, as like the way it ends in Dark Souls 2, I think it's fucking really worthwhile.
And doesn't Gwyn hate dragons or something like that?
Well, yeah, it's like the son was stripped away from his status as a god because he sided with the dragon. That's what it's heavily implied. Yeah. So like it makes sense that he joins the dragon against his father.
Fair enough. But dude, I want to actually fight the second stage, the Nameless King, not the dragon. I want to fight the Nameless King again. That boss fight is amazing. When you get into the groove and into rhythm and you just dodge everything, he tries to hit you with, and his attacks feel like they have such an impact to them, and it's just a really good fight. Whether you find it difficult or not is a completely different story. But the fight itself, mechanically wise, lore wise, and visually wise, is a 10 out of 10. I
remember I beat the fight on the New Year's Day, like the first day of the year, and I'm like, yeah, that's how you start a fucking year.
Yeah, that was probably a good way to start your year.
Yeah, but then the next boss is the Soul of Cinders, which I absolutely do not like.
I actually like it. I think it's
Yeah.
a good way to. I think it's a good way for ending of the series. You're
I think
technically
it's such a
speaking,
horrible way.
you're fighting the beginning, the thing that started all. You're basically fighting yourself at the end. You're fighting a
That's what
mixture
I
of
don't like.
everything in the game. That's why I do like it.
That's why I don't like it. It's like, yeah, sure, let's just put everything together. You're just like fighting the manifestation of those who linked the flame. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Just write it down. Like, okay. I like the design. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The music
Mm.
is good.
The design was alright. The music is good, but it's just the soundtrack of Gwyn later on.
Second phase, you mean?
Yeah, later on in the fight.
It's like
But yeah,
my annoyance with him lore wise is like we don't know much about it. It's like it's just a manifestation of those who link the flame. That's so fucking broad. It's like
isn't this supposedly the first character from the first game?
no, it's just like all the characters who ever linked the flame.
Nah, that makes it worse. Look, listen, I'm still gonna keep living in my reality where it's the
Yeah.
first character from the first game, and that just makes the fight better. Okay, and it might be wrong, but shit, if it makes the fight better, it makes the fight better, you know? Look, I get where you're coming from, but I'm living in my own delusional world where it's the character from the first game, and he's using the things from the first game, second game, and it's just nice and it's fun. It has good music.
Doesn't have like
Yeah.
the Ringed City DLC brings out Slave Night Gale, which is like the best version to end the game, but still.
The boss fight arena though is probably the best boss fight arena in the game, maybe.
Is it
Like,
though? It's one
I'm
of the
not
good
sure.
ones, but
I'm
still.
not sure. It's definitely like a top 5. You know, I'll give it that much. Maybe 5th spot, but it's a good one. You can't deny that. It has good atmosphere, and it's just it has good scenery, you know.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, I don't know. I really like the way. Maybe it's just the arena, but I really fuck with the arena or the final boss fight.
I do think he was also really easy, but that's just me.
He was quite easy, even for people who just picked up the game. If you fought all the other bosses, all the other optional bosses, and I'm not talking about the DLC, I'm just talking about the base game. If you fought every boss in the base game, you should quite easily beat the boss by yourself without any help.
Speaking of the DLC,
yeah,
let's talk about the DLC.
Let's talk about the DLC. Well, let's start with the shittier version of this of the DLC.
Ashes of Ariana Grande.
I couldn't say it better. I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah, honestly, out of the two DLC, it's really one of the worst ones.
In general, it's one of the worst DLCs in Dark Souls. Like, it looks good. Let's give it that much. It looks amazing. Visually wise, it's stunning, right? But there's only 2 boss fights in that area. The first boss fight is a ripoff of Sith the Wolf from the first game.
Phenomenal music, but fuck me, is it so forgettable?
That boss fight is horrible. So I genuinely don't have much to say about it.
Yeah, honestly, it's
just bad. And it's a DLC fight, so it shouldn't be bad, you know? Like the DLC should be the best fights in the game. Should be. Not that one. That one. That's
Yeah, but the main boss, Sister Freda, yeah, that was a pretty good fight.
The main boss, Sister Freda, like you said, it was a pretty good fight, and it's a long fight too, so it kind of makes up for the lack of bosses in the DLC. Kind of. It's
yeah,
a
it doesn't have like the DLC is overpriced.
It's a 3-phased fight, so you know it's overly long, and if you die, you know, let's say on the 3rd phase, you need to beat the second phase. It's kind of like, which kind of brings out the problem had with the Nameless King, where you need to beat the dragon like fucking 100 times. You know, if you can beat the Nameless King in the second stage, you basically need to become perfect at killing that dragon. So, and it feels like it's not as bad in that fight with the switch stages because it doesn't have as much HP, but it's still kind of annoying, you know.
Yeah, like after the wow factor, like, oh my god, it's one of the first 3 health bars fight, like 3 stages fight. It just loses its charm real fast.
Yeah, if you get stuck on it, you're gonna get frustrated because of that, you know. That's definitely something I'm seeing. I saw in that fight when I was trying to beat it. But I think I got only up to in that boss fight when I got to the final stage only once or twice, and I managed to beat it, which I'm really happy about because I can see myself getting really frustrated with that boss fight.
I think I had to summon for it because like I was not up to doing like 3 phases fight. It was like I like the lore, I like the music, but like I don't want to go through it.
And that's the difference between me and you in this game. So I don't like the challenge. You, on the other hand, you just like the exploration and the lore of it.
It's fun, but like damn it, those Ashes of Arion though just does not do that for me. Like one of the most disappointing DLCs. Like not even the armor or weapons you get in the games on that DLC is really worth it.
It's not that bad. Look, the fight with the wolf is dog shit, but the exploration of it is decent. It's from the first game when you go into a painting world, but it looks so much better because it's on the PS4. It looks like amazing. The final fight, it has good lore, right? Let's give it the lore aspect. It has the wow factor of 3 HP bars, and it's quite a fun fight, and it mixes up quite a lot. Like it begins, it's like 3 different boss fights, kind of, you know. So I like that fight. It's quite good, right? And also, there was this one NPC, this one crow NPC, if you remember, where if you talk to him, he says something. I kind of forgot his lore, but he gives you a Titanite slab.
Oh yeah.
At the end, and he was a pretty solid NPC for, you know, he couldn't do much because he's an NPC from a DLC, but he was still pretty solid, you know. So
no, my annoyance with the DLC is the fact that out of all the characters to continue the lore, for some reason they choose Pontiff Sylvan. Yeah, and like why? He was already well developed in the base game. Why do you need to continue it? And it's like, and I was like pretty sure that's the only lore they continue from the base game. That's just disappointing. For $15 DLC, man.
Listen, if I have to rate the DLC on out of 10 scale, I'll probably give it like a 6.
Yeah, I say 5.
A 7 if we're pushing it slack, you know. I was pushing it quite a lot. So I think a 6 is a good number.
Thank God for the next DLC to really pick up the slack. The Ring of City DLC is way better, like in all the aspect.
Yeah, the Ring of City really just carried the
DLC.
Carried the DLC of Dark Souls 3 on its back.
Well, even though it became really weak, like the demons in pain and demon from below, like
they're alright, but yeah,
they're not that memorable in my opinion. It's like, oh, it's demons, yay! I've seen that before.
Yeah, they're not that special, but they're alright, you know. They're not that bad. It's cool that you jump down, you know, the way you get to them is quite sick, I guess. And the atmosphere of the fight wasn't bad. And I guess the fact that if you kill one demon first, the final stage is gonna be different.
Yeah, like there's like a customization towards the boss.
So that's something unique. That's nice, right? Let's give them some credit. Other than that, yeah, it's a mediocre file with some extra touches to it because it's a DLC file.
Yeah, it definitely was added to make it like, oh yeah, before you go to the Ring of City, let's make you do something a little bit.
And also it retcons the whole all demon thing. So there's that.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it's implied that Lorien, one of the twin princes, killed one of them, but then it's like, oh yeah, he didn't actually die. It just went underneath the earth. Like, okay, that makes no sense to continue it, but sure.
Is that really this? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, like the flame sword he holds, like Lorien is like, oh, it's by the blood of the demon he killed, so that's why it's forever on fire. Like, that's just weird, man.
Kind of cool, you know.
Yeah, it was like retcon. But anyway, the next fight, the mandatory PvP boss, Half-Light Spirit of the Church. Yeah, it was like it's a PvP fight.
It's a PvP boss only if you have PS Plus.
Yep, which we both don't have, and we don't.
So for us, it wasn't a PvP fight; it was just an NPC fight.
The music was good, but other than that, yeah.
Sure, the music was good, but that fight is literally just RNG. You can have. It could be the easiest boss fight in the game, or it could be the hardest boss fight in the game, depending on the other person's skill level.
But the NPC for the online version fucking sucks.
Yeah, so if you
Not much to say.
if you're gonna do it online, it's an RNG whether how hard the boss fight is gonna be. If you're doing it offline, like us, it's quite an easy boss fight and it's quite forgettable.
And then the next boss is optional, but like, oh bless you.
Thank you. How the fuck did you hear that?
Your mic picks up really well.
Good to know. Good to know.
The next fight, optional, absolutely one of my favorite, Dark Hidden Meteor. I love it. It's a great boss.
Yeah, I like how you see him before the boss fight, and then you beat him, and you think, oh, that's it, it's over. And then you see him again with a full HP bar, and you're like, oh shit, this is not gonna end well for me. And Meteor is one of the hardest boss fights in the game.
It is. I remember I knew how hard he was beforehand, and I wanted to write it down, and I did beat him on my 30th try. Counted.
I didn't count how much it took me, but it took me a lot of tries.
Yeah.
But you know, he's a really good boss fight. Atmosphere-wise, he also has a build-up. If I remember correctly, you see him once where he cucks you, where he doesn't allow you to get to a certain area, and then you need to use a shield and sprint to get up the hill to get into a cave.
Or you can actually see him stalking you throughout the Ringed City before that as well, which is actually pretty cool.
Meteor is a really well-made boss fight. He has build-up. He has good lore, presuming, I'm guessing.
He does. He does.
The boss fight is really good, and it's really difficult. So when you beat him, you get the satisfaction of beating a really hard boss fight. His HP is a little bit too much, in my opinion, but that's where the difficulty comes from, because he has such a massive HP bar. Where really the game isn't about you. It isn't about you beating him as quickly as possible. It's about you knowing how to survive and keep your healings as much as you can.
And then you go in his second phase where he just starts a fucking light show. That's like awesome.
But yeah, the boss fight is amazing. Yeah,
my only real complaint that fucked me is that boss run like 1 minute long.
What you say?
That boss run for Meteor is 1 minute long.
Oh, and because the boss fight is so hard, and you're definitely gonna fight it quite a long time. It's like, yeah, fuck you, From Software. You could just put a bonfire next to him, but no.
But they did.
You had to make this. Yeah.
They did that for the real final boss, the Slave Knight Gale.
Yeah, but if they didn't do that for Slave Knight Gale, I'm pretty sure most people would just break the fucking... If they had a CD of Dark Souls 3, they would just break that shit in half. Like, come on. You have to deal with... You don't have to deal with Meteor, but let's say if you're like us and you want to fight everything, right? Especially in the DLC, because you did pay extra for the DLC, so you really want to experience it to the full, so you want to fight everything possible. And you go to fight Meteor. And then you do all that long run, and then you go to the final boss fight that you might fight in Dark Souls 3. depending on how you played the game, right? Which DLC you played first and stuff like that. Which you should really save Slave Knight Geo for the
For
finale.
last, yeah.
It should be the final boss you fight in Dark Souls 3. Period. And you go to the final boss fight for Dark Souls in Dark Souls 3, and then like you have like a 1 minute to run, like for Meteor. You will rage a lot. At least I would.
Yeah, but like then,
yeah.
but Slave Knight Gale is just like he's like Soul of Cinders, but better.
Yeah. I've seen lots of people compare him to the main character in Berserk.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Like Dark Souls is really inspired by Berserk, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell from the giant ass sword he has, the crossbow that he has. That fucking crossbow is broken, by the way.
Oh, there was like a new glitch discovered last year where you
Yeah.
can actually store it from a regular arrow. That was just insane.
Yeah, you can glitch that. You can glitch that with great arrows, with the great bow, like that, and then it literally deletes it deletes bosses. You become the boss if you do that glitch, which is low-key amazing.
And it was like such a recent discovery as well as like once the game's been done deal, no more updates, no more patches, then you discover this. It's like, oh shit, son.
And they're not gonna patch it, so it's like, oh, sick.
No, but like everything about Slave Knight Gale is just great. He's a hard fight, not too much HP, but the right amount, and the music is just phenomenal. And the fact that you're standing in the end of the world supposedly is like awesome.
It is a sick fight with epic proportions to it, and they really nail most of the things in that fight, just about everything. I think there was one thing that I didn't like about that fight. One attack he had, I think it was those red bulb things he would throw at you, the souls, and they would explode with lightning or something like that. I hated that shit.
Oh yeah, when they hit the ground, lightning is gonna spawn on it.
Yeah, I hate it because if he does that and while you're attacking him, like you have to become more passive. So those things made you play more passive, and I hate when the game forces you kind of into defensive mode. But you know, overall, I'm not gonna complain. It's a 10 out of 10 fight, and
Definitely.
I'm not sure if I want to say it was the best fight in Dark Souls 3. Like, look, it was objectively, right? If we're looking at all the fights objectively, he was the best fight in Dark Souls 3. Objectively. Subjectively, I'm not sure. I might like the Nameless King the most. You know, he might be the top, and then Slave Knight Gale, which doesn't really make sense because Slave Knight Gale is literally like the Nameless King. But I don't know. I fought the Nameless King first, and beating the Nameless King was something different for me because I was stuck on it. Like you were stuck on the dancer, and probably after you beat the dancer after like a week, you had that satisfaction, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really struggle as much as on Slave Knight Gale.
For me, the best fight for me, while I do love Slave Knight Gale a lot, it will always be the Twin Princes. It's just like everything about the Twin Princes just clicked with me so much, is unreal.
But yeah, yeah.
No, you go.
I was gonna say lore-wise, I don't know that much about Slave Knight Gale. I just know that you do see him. He's the guy that shows you the piece of painting to go to the painting world, so you can reach the shittier DLC. And after you beat him, you get the Dark Abyss, and you can go back to the shittier DLC and talk to the bitch that paints, and be like, "Oh, look what thing." Which I forgot what they call it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just called the Dark Soul, Blood of the Dark Soul.
Yeah, it was called the Dark Soul. Yeah, so and then you can give it to her and she can make a painting, which I don't think I did that. Well, actually, I probably did that. Yeah, I did do it.
No, I'm not gonna get into lore-wise with Slave Knight Gale. It's amazing. Dark Souls in general lore is really good, even though it does take a lot of aspects from Dark Souls 1. But we're over to like an hour in. I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah, that's a completely different topic. But
Yeah,
overall, objectively wise, best boss fight in Dark Souls 3 and probably the best boss fight in the Dark Souls series. Now, whether it's your personal, personal
At the
favorite
end of
fight
the
is
day,
a
it's all
completely
opinionated.
different story. So yeah.
For me, Dark Souls 3 in general was like this From Software game that really clicked on me. That's just like, I played through the game 9 fucking times, from the beginning to 100% pretty much. It's like, I really like the game.
For me, the From Software game that clicked a lot to me was Bloodborne.
We get to that another day.
True that. But yeah, I think that's all when it comes to Dark Souls 3 boss fights.
Yeah, there is another. I want to. Yeah, that's for bosses coming. Real any locations that really clicked on you. I will go through all of them, but like we're already 1 hour long, and I am not looking forward to editing this. Not gonna lie.
Good question. Any that really clicked for me?
For me, let me go on. I'll let you think about it for a second. For me, there's 2 areas. One of them is Road of the Sacrifices. After you be like the Road of Sacrifices. There's no where the Crystal Sage is and before the Cathedral of the Deep. I just really like the area as well, like aesthetic wise with the swamp areas. Like it was actually really fun to go through.
I wasn't expecting that, honestly. Like, okay.
And the other one, the second area for me, actually, I also want to mention it's not the second one is not Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. I really like Irithyll of the Boreal Valley aesthetic wise, but I did not like the level jump for that area. Like for some reason, enemies started doing so much more damage. The other area is definitely the undead settlements before the Road of Sacrifice. Again, I don't know why. I think it's the giant ass tree that's like full of corpses around it, like where you see the mad woman for the first time as well. The undead settlement and the Road of Sacrifices, I really like going through the areas because it's so fun. I don't know why.
I wasn't expecting that, honestly. If we're talking about base game, right? Only base game areas. Base game, I would probably say I have 2 areas probably. One was the snowy area, right?
Irithyll of the Boreal Valley.
Yeah, that was one. I really liked that area. It was really sick. And the other one was the area where you get to the Nameless King with the dragons.
Dragon Peak.
I think that area by far, in my opinion, is my favorite, at least in the base game. It gives you the scale of epic, like
that is true.
You feel like you've gone really strong and you've gotten far into the story, and this is quite important, right? And you're gonna have a big fight here, and it feels really nice. And obviously the Nameless King is there, that fucker. But yeah, overall I think that's my favorite there in the game. The scenery is amazing. Yeah.
DLC wise, I think we can all agree on it's the Ringed City.
I mean, look wise and areas, you can downplay the shitty DLC. The shitty DLC still looks really nice.
Yeah, but it's another snow area, and Dark Souls 1 already did that without paying for DLC.
True, but Dark Souls 3 may look better.
No. I still think the Ringed City looks better.
Look, the Ringed City is better. Like, come on. Have you just Slave Knight Gale's boss arena beats everything in the other DLC. So, location-wise, So it is what it is, but yeah, it's just the Ringed City overall has better locations. And the build up with the thing that she told me about Medir spotting you throughout before you get to him, that's sick. Like that doesn't compare to the first DLC, and I count that as part of the scenery, low key. So,
Dark Souls 3 in general is just a really pretty game.
It is. Dark Souls 3, the reason why I like Dark Souls 3 so much is just overall a well-polished game. Mechanically wise is good. Yeah.
You can tell that From Software did take a lot of criticism from Dark Souls 1 and 2 just to make the overall great experience.
Yeah, and you can tell that Bloodborne did have some effect on the game. Because if I remember correctly, they did make Bloodborne before Dark Souls 3. So they're like, okay, let's see what people like from Bloodborne. Faster pace. They like faster shit. Okay, let's put faster shit in. And they made game more fast paced. Which was a good idea.
Anyway, sadly, I need to close this off. We're already going through the 20-minute mark, and now we're in 20 minutes.
20-minute mark?
The an hour and 20-minute mark, okay?
I heard 20-minute mark. I was like, come on now.
Hey, the Navy fucking screws with you, man.
Fair enough. That's your excuse, isn't it? That's a good excuse. Just the Navy. Whatever happens, the Navy.
Exactly. Anyway, anything else you want to end up with Dark Souls 3?
If you haven't played the game, play the goddamn game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing? And it's honestly it's a good game to start off with. It has so much content on YouTube and so many guides and shit like that, you know.
Yeah, but once playing through Dark Souls 2, which is like the most recent Dark Souls game, going through the past games is really hard.
I was actually about to say that. Like, if you're new to Dark Souls games, and for you do decide to pick up Dark Souls 3 and you go to play the other games, it's horrible. It's like, imagine that you're a runner, right? And then you run really fast. And then imagine that for some reason you have only one leg now. That's how it feels going back to the old games. You feel handicapped.
Yeah, like I remember, like you and I when we played through, because even though I did start with Dark Souls 2 and you started with Dark Souls 3, when we first went to Dark Souls 1, that was like the beginning part was so hard because wow, the game is old.
Yeah, but it's so slow, and even the remastered version that didn't help that much gameplay wise, mechanic wise. The only way I managed to make the game playable is using the ring that makes you do the ninja rolls for dodging. That made the game playable. That actually saved the game for me personally. If that ring didn't exist in that game, I would hate the game. But because that ring is in it, I like the game. It's that simple, honestly. It's one item that saves the full game. Saves the mechanic aspect of the game because it makes the dodging bearable.
Yeah, I actually still don't know how to talk about Dark Souls 1. I beat through the game twice and I'm like, ugh.
We can talk about it another time.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Damn it.
Lastly, and I want to say something. It's about Dark Souls 3, right? Because we're talking about it.
Hopefully.
Lots of people who are veterans, quote unquote, you know, in the Dark Souls community where they've played Dark Souls 1 and 2 and shit like that, they haven't beaten Dark Souls 3. I've spoken with a person who played the other Dark Souls games, and he told me that he got to Dark Souls 3 and he just gave up halfway through it because he didn't like it, and it didn't. I don't know if it felt too different from the other games or something like that, if I remember correctly. If you're one of those people, play the goddamn fucking game. Just because it's not like the other games mechanic wise doesn't give you a good justification not to go through the game. And honestly, it's better than the other games mechanically wise. So why wouldn't you want to play that game? I don't get it.
The Dark Souls community is the weirdest community out there, if you ask me.
It really is, but it's not the most toxic community. It's quite toxic, but not the most.
I've seen worse, definitely. Like, damn, Pokemon lately's been full of shit, hasn't it?
The Naruto community is fucking horrible.
But we can talk about shitty communities another day.
Yeah, and we can. And that wraps up the podcast.
Thank God, don't steal my thunder. This is my fucking show.
Well, it's mine now.
Well, then you end it.
I don't know, how do you end your podcasts? It's been a while since I watched one of them.
Listen, anyway, no, I just end with a slight breakdown. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, guys. So I wanna kill myself. The Navy's really bad.
Not like that. Yeah, don't put words in my mouth. God damn it.
No. But you did say that the Navy is really bad.
Oh yeah, for the past 2 podcasts, like the podcast that's 7 minutes long, yeah, those were me talking shit, but still.
Well, end your podcast then.
Yeah, anyway, thank you for listening to this week's podcast. I hope I can hear you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you end the fucking podcast, okay?
Should I take notes?
No.